Well, Jim, here is our final question this week, sent to CornyDriveThru@gmail.com from Pete. On the topic of Bryan Danielson and CM Punk's first loss, who should they lay down to first, and who does the job first?
Again, you can't just make that up. It has to be in the moment. It has to be, what you're doing and what your idea is, what your mission is, what your return match or whatever you're wanting to get out of it, and who's involved. It can't just be, well, this guy ought to do a job before that guy, all things being equal. I got to be honest with you. I don't know why in the fuck that the next world title change would not be to one or the other of either CM Punk or Bryan Danielson. Because they had Paige in the spot, but all of a sudden it's like when you've got the really talented guy in the high school drama class that you want to star in the school play, but then suddenly a real professional actor from college gets somehow left behind and he shows up and, well, you got to go with that guy. If Paige had been cutting promos like the real badass one that he did a couple of weeks ago and seemed professional and had been associating with main event level talent since he'd been there, I'd say, yeah, you've got Punk and Danielson, still put the thing on Paige. But now it would be so ridiculous that, as we've said, through no real fault of Paige's own, unless he was on board with this tomfoolery, you've got this guy who's been riding job guys around on his lawnmower to ice cream, and you've got two megastars from the biggest promotion in the world that can wrestle a match with almost anybody. And you've already got Danielson, because Danielson and Twinkle Toes will be a better match, because I don't think Punk would probably want to put up with a lot of Twinkle Toes' foolishness, and I think Twinkle Toes knows that, so he's probably not anxious to work with Punk and have to show people that he doesn't know how to actually have a real match. He just knows how to, do the trained chimp stuff. So I think Danielson and Twinkle Toes is better because Danielson can get something that kind of half-ass makes sense out of anybody, and he can work more of that style. But I don't know why one of the two of them would not be the next AEW World Champion. Just for the sake of, then when you advertise AEW World Champion so-and-so defending against, somebody will know who the fuck that World Champion is besides the people that have already been watching the program. That's just me.
And both guys have had nothing but competitive matches since they've been in AEW, which is important to note here in terms of who they're going to do the job for first.
And that's another thing. It's, if they don't watch out, it's almost to the point of, if they do win beat some main event guy, it's like, well, fuck, they couldn't hardly handle Eddie Kingston, but they beat Chris Jericho or Twinkle Toes or Moxley or whatever. How did that happen? Must have been a fluke. I understand wanting to make guys look better than they are before you beat them, but this is the most generous bunch of people I've ever seen in my life. At some point, the whole good of the company depends on your champion, and there was more than just the fact that he's a self-centered prick as to why Hulk Hogan was not more generous with his jobs.